There we go. Wake them up, wake them up. It's Wednesday. Wake them up, wake them up. It's Wednesday. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Coach Eb, your favorite wake up coach. Y'all know what it is. Every single Wednesday, we come right here on this platform over here on YouTube, and I go live with a very special guest that comes to us to tell us about a time where they turned their pain into power, a time when they had something that was like on the negative side and they flipped it, reversed it, and made it do what it do and turned it into a positive. So this week, I have a very, very special guest, my very own sister. I call her sister. She my cousin, but I call her my sister. I really don't even count her as a cousin. That's just how I work. Y'all know a few weeks ago, we had Cierra Crudup right here in the power seat. This week, we hit up the matriarch of the family. That's right. We went and got his wife. So my sister, Cierra Crudup, Mrs. Cierra Crudup of Delicious Sweets, had to plug it in. Go get y'all RC Marketplace. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to let her do the rest. You go ahead and you introduce yourself.
Hey, y'all. I am Cierra Crudup. I am the owner of Delicious Sweets Bake Shop and Craven Cookies, where I am the master cake decorator and baker. I recently became a published author, and I get to make people's lives sweet every single day.
Y'all heard it. She making our lives sweet every day. When I say every day, we talking about sweet potato pound cake, peach cobbler pound cake, banana pudding. Listen, the list goes on. And let's not forget your custom cakes, your custom orders. She does all of that and some. I'm going to stop plugging, but y'all need to go ahead and go get it because it's good, okay? Listen. Cierra, my sister, tell us about a time where you had a negative, you turned it into a positive. You had something that was a burden on you, that was a pain, and you took that thing, you flipped it, and you turned it into your power, and you are the person that you are today. The floor is yours.
You know what? It's funny you asked me that question. I was thinking like, oh my goodness, what can I talk about? And I can think of quite a few different times in my life where I had to turn my pain into power. And let me just say, when you're going through something, you in the moment, you don't think about the pain that you're in, like you turning it into power. You got to go through that thing. And then as you're going through it, at some point you get the courage and you get the confidence and the will to want to do something different so that you can change your situation. So I'm going to talk about the time where I had opened my very first bakery and I had to close it after a year. So if you can imagine being home-based, self-taught baker for 5 years. And I remember in the very beginning, once I grabbed a hold of this is what I'm supposed to do. You know, I'm supposed to be a baker. I'm supposed to do this. I had bought an open sign, and that was my first act of faith. You know, in my first year or two, I bought an open sign, and I said, by year 5, I am going to have my very own bakery location. So fast forward 5 years later, an opportunity presented itself. I opened my first bakery. I did not have all the money. I did not know how I was going to do it, but I was just trusting God that it was going to happen for me because this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I opened the bakery up. All of my family and friends came out. You know, it was great. We got it decorated. We painted. The equipment was in there. It seemed like it was perfect. And after the grand opening, that's when life hit. It was like, okay, the grand opening was here. It was fun. You sell cakes and cookies and cupcakes. This is cute. But then, like, it was time for me really to perform and to be this bakery that's supposed to be open every day of the week. And here I am in my early 20s. I have a full-time job that I'm working. And I have life outside of work, you know, so I'm trying to navigate being a new actual business owner with the actual location in the community, as well as working a full-time job. And I hit a lot of roadblocks. I experienced having bills that I couldn't pay. I experienced having rent that was behind. I experienced having not enough money to pay employees. I experienced having no employees. I mean, it was sometimes where I had to close because going to my 9 to 5 was guaranteed and the bakery came secondary. So after a year of learning and struggling and trying to figure it out, didn't know what I was doing, I had to close the bakery. Now, I'm giving you kind of like a sped up version of this, but imagine finally getting to that point where you're like, man, I got this open. I said I was going to do it after 5 years. I have my own location, and now I have to close it. So if you can imagine all the emotions that I was experiencing, like even to decide that, yes, I'm going to close this. No, I'm not going to keep struggling because I'm sinking further into a hole. I'm just going to close it and be done. So I decided that I was going to close this location after a year. It was devastating. It was heartbreaking. It was painful. It was just really, really bad, to the point I said I was never opening another bakery in my life. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing this again. If I do open another dessert situation type thing, it will be an ice cream truck that I would turn into a dessert truck, and I would drive around and sell my sweets in my truck. You know, I said I'm done with the bakery. So I closed it. I had a lot of hard days after that. I was discouraged. I said I didn't want to bake anymore. But in my being discouraged, and my being sad and hurt and depressed, customers kept calling me. They was like, yo, the bakery is closed, but can you still make my cake? I know you used to do cakes out of your house. Are you still doing them? Like, are you still selling desserts? I'm telling you, like, people were still hitting me up because they wanted cakes. They wanted their desserts. They wanted delicious sweets. And that's when I realized, like, man, you know, I remember I heard it so clear that you had to close the bakery, but the gift is still on the inside of you. So that was huge for me. And it was a big like point where I was able to pivot and transition into, I no longer have the bakery, but I can still be active in my gift and do what I'm supposed to be doing. And once I grabbed a hold to that, I was able to let go of, okay, the bakery closed. That's done. Where are we at now? How are we moving forward? And I continue to work. I continue to bake on the side. I continue to make people happy with their sweets. And even though I said I was never opening another bakery, literally like a year and a half later, here I am with another location, another opportunity. And I took it. 5 months later, second location. A year and a half later, third location. And that same year where the third location happened, another bakery cookie shop happened. So, you know, I didn't know back when I had to close the bakery while I was experiencing that pain and all of that. I didn't even have a clue that I would be able to turn that into power. But once I got my mind right and I got myself together, I could see the bigger vision, and I was able to walk toward it, even though I didn't know exactly how things were going to come together, but I kept trusting the process. And shoot, that pain definitely turned into power. And here I am today.
Wow. Okay. So you said so much without saying it. So I heard so much. So one thing that you said, so you stepped out on faith. You did a what I like to call a prophetic act, and you bought the open sign for your business that you hadn't even opened yet. But you said, if I buy this sign, I'm speaking it into existence, and I'm moving on faith that I'm gonna have this sign. So that means my business is gonna be open, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
See, a lot of people I feel don't realize, okay, we have a vision, and we don't do nothing about the vision. And so the vision just lies dormant.
Yeah.
So at what point in time are you going to do something towards that vision to make it come to life?
Yeah.
And you buying that sign was a faith move, a prophetic act of, I'm going to need this sign for when my business opens up, and you opened up that business.
I did.
Then you said that I didn't realize personally that you kept working full time while you had that business.
Mm-hmm.
So you were a dualpreneur. You was technically, in the corporate world, and you were an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How did that work for like working your 9 to 5 and having your business? What did the day look like for you?
Oh goodness. So it honestly, it depends on the day, but a lot of that looks like me going to the bakery before work, making sure things were set and ready to go. And then I went to work, and after work, I went back to the bakery to check on the bakery, to see what sold, to see what didn't sell, to do cake orders. So I had to keep that 9 to 5 job because that was my guaranteed income and it was helping me fund that dream. So a lot of times when you start a business, you're not seeing huge profits right away. And a lot of times you've made a lot of investments and you may not see a profit for a long time. So once I had the place, the sales weren't coming in as fast because I was new. I was a new bakery in the area. Plus, I was working full time. So you can imagine I wasn't dedicating 100% of my time to the bakery. I did have people working there, but I needed that money from my 9 to 5 to help me to keep going with my business. So my days look very long, very early, and late nights.
That right there. Wow, because that definitely takes some dedication. I'm gonna say that takes some serious dedication to be able to do both.
Yes,
Early mornings, because bakeries open early.
they do.
And y'all got cakes to make, and not just okay, we just make it. No, you have cakes for the entire day, and sometimes cakes for multiple days at a time, and not including custom orders that you have because you still did custom orders.
Yep.
So your day-to-day operation was you were on it.
Yes, absolutely. And then, my 9 to 5 was demanding. I was a supervisor. I had 30 staff. So you can imagine how difficult that was to navigate both.
That definitely sounds like that was difficult. More power to you. And you did that. You had grace for that. And that was just definitely for you. Because nah, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. So something you said was even though you had to close after a year, you still had the gift.
Hello.
So I had to write this down because even though you operate in your purpose and you move in your purpose and you move in your gifts, just because what you're doing in that moment may stop, that doesn't mean you're no longer gifted. That doesn't mean you're no longer purposeful. That doesn't mean you no longer have something to do on this earth for other people, because you said something in your introduction. You sweeten up people's lives. Not only do you sweeten up their lives with the desserts, you have your conversation, you have your presence, you have the atmosphere that you create around you. So when you still have the gift, you still need to use it because you're still gifted for your purpose. That's what I got from what you said, because the gift was still in you. I'm like, okay, let me write this down. Let me take a note. That right there is amazing. And something else you said, you went on to open up how many locations total since you started? 4 or 5?
Yeah, there has been, we had Bay City, SVRC, Fashion Square Mall, Great Lakes Crossing. There's been a total of 5 locations during my duration of owning Delicious Sweets.
And how many years have you been running Delicious Sweets?
It's been 13 years. The first 5 years were home based, and after 5 years, we stepped into locations. And after closing that one location after a year, we opened right back up and have been going strong ever since.
And the fact that you said self-taught, and you still running strong with this thing. And I mean, I'm just waiting to hear about locations and other states, but we ain't gonna talk about that today or nothing like that. But let me just throw it out there because
throw it out there.
So Something else that you said was you're an author, a new author. She said new, y'all, AKA y'all need to get her book. So talk to us about being this new author and what brought you to writing that book.
You know what? I should have brought my book with me so I could have held it up. But so honestly, I just felt led to write this. It's a 30-day devotional, and it is for entrepreneurs, it's for leaders, it's for the everyday person who's just looking to level up in their life. I wrote this book because I honestly felt like the things that I've experienced as a supervisor, as a business owner, those things can really help other people. And if I can help you without you having to go through the same thing that I went through, then that's a win. So I started out writing the devotional. I did not know what all I was going to put into it. But when I sat down with me, my pen, and God, we just went for it. And I really, truly believe that the book is going to help so many people and help people to see entrepreneurship, to see leadership, and to see life in a different view. Because a lot of times, especially it's 2025, and we live in a day where social media is heavy and is huge, and people are all over TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, and they're talking about how you can quit your job and become an entrepreneur, or how you can write an ebook and become a millionaire, or, you know, things that sound really good, but they don't show you the behind the scenes. They don't show you what that really looks like. They don't show you the bank account before they got some money, you know? So I think that being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, being a person in leadership is very glamorized, but people don't talk about the hard stuff. So I wanted to talk about the hard stuff and the things that you have to do as far as the groundwork and the press that you need to keep going, and when you have to start over, and when you want to quit, and when you don't have no money, and all of those things. You know, I really believe that the book is going to help people to be able to see themselves in real life and not just hear some get rich quick scheme.
Something you just said is a lot of people don't talk about those slow moments, the dark moments, the moments we don't see that all the time. So if you don't mind sharing with us one of those moments during the times of having your bakery, you opened your bakery, had to close the bakery, you opened up another bakery, you opened up another location, you had to close another location. To the point where you are now, you just rebranded, revised, and now we craving cookies and coffee, aka another location. That's what I'm calling it, okay? Because you have added on to the brand. Now we're not just craving cookies, we craving cookies and we coffee. So we're gonna sweeten y'all up and we're gonna wake y'all up because y'all need a little caffeine in y'all lives, okay? So tell us about a time where one of those dark times where we didn't get to see that, because whenever I see you, it's always smiles. It's always, hey, sister. It's always you communicating with your customers. You're talking to your customers. You're encouraging your customers. And it's even times I've noticed you encourage your customers and you probably don't even know it. It's not even the words that you say. But like I said, it's your presence and the atmosphere and just being around you. So we don't get to see those dark times. So tell us about a time where it was like not so moving so quick. It was kind of dark for you.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, I think I'm definitely a product of, I don't look like what I be going through. So, and that's just because God graces me to do what I do. But I'll talk about a time, honestly, it was a couple months ago this is the most recent thing that I have experienced. And it was like, I would say between the end of like around Christmas time through a few weeks into January. So I was moving Craving Cookies, since you threw that out there. You know, I was moving Craving Cookies from one spot to the next spot. And along with that move came expansion. So we added coffee, we added tea, homemade hot chocolate, as well as a whole new look, a rebrand, a whole new vibe. We just leveled up. But that all sounds good, but the behind the scenes it was a little dark. It was definitely devastating. And when you're a person and you're going through your everyday life and you're so used to managing a high level of stress, sometimes you don't know that you need to take a break, So in that moving craving cookies from one space to the next space, hiring new people, firing some people, adding on new things, that was just a lot to manage, all while still having delicious sweets, still going through the busyness of the holidays, and then going into a new year. That was a time that was very difficult, and it was very stressful for me. And I had to kind of take a step back because I was starting to feel anxious, and I was starting to feel stressed out and overwhelmed. And we're moving to this new space, but I'm looking at all these boxes and all these shipments, and it just looked like more work on top of work and on top of more work. And then I'm trying to meet deadlines, and I'm like, wow, okay, I got a deadline to meet, and we made no money in this location in almost 2 months. So, it just was a lot going on and a lot of different things happening at once. And I had to take a step back so that I could sit down, woosah, categorize some things and figure out what was priority. But that was a dark moment that I had, and people didn't know. Nobody knew it because I still showed up, and I still came to work, and I still smiled, and I still was myself to them, even though I was going through a difficult time, within myself.
That is so good. I'm trying not to pull these little nuggets from what you're saying, but I can't help it. So what I hear you saying is your gift still allowed you to show up during the dark times, but also you were able to take a step away. You knew, okay, you know what? Right now, this is a little bit much. So I need to take a moment to step back, and I need to be still. I need to chill out because, yes, it is a lot going on around me. I do have a lot that I'm doing. This is change. This is expansion. I'm supposed to feel uncomfortable, but even when I'm feeling uncomfortable, I know I need to take a moment. Let me regroup. Let me bring myself back. Let me get myself recentered and grounded. Okay, God, sir, I need you to come on down here and help me with this strength because this is a bit much.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that you knew when you needed to rest. You knew when you needed to take a moment to yourself and gather yourself. And even that has helped out in moving forward with everything that you have brought together, even with your employees that you have, because you don't want to cause too much because you need to take a moment. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to cause any friction with others around you that are working with you, even possibly, at home when you need to take a minute. So I love the fact that let me get myself together. Let me bring myself back to where I'm supposed to be and get yourself back centered. So I love that you knew that. A question I do have for you: what would you say to that person? What would you say to that person that has tried? And I say this because you said all these locations you have opened and some you have closed, and you have opened and some have closed. And now you came out with a rebrand. You said 13 years?
13 years.
13 years to get where you are today. What would you say to that person that wants to rush their process and get to it like it's hotcakes? What would you say to that person that wants to rush to make it through their process?
I would say you can try it, but it ain't gonna work. So that's the short version. You can try it, but it's not going to work. A lot of times we can have a glimpse, or God can he can show us something that's going to happen in the future, or we can even receive a word that's going to happen, but we don't know when it's going to happen. And a part of our job is to just keep going and trust the process. Because the thing is, when a part of your purpose, like, you can't get to the end without going through the process. Like, you have to go through it. So that means that in your going through the process, you're going to experience some bad times. You're going to experience some slow times. You're going to experience some long suffering. You got to be tested and tried and pruned. And you got to be, fit to be the person that you're going to be needed to be at the end. So you start here, but all these roadblocks and all the things that you're going to experience and grow through on your journey is going to help you be the person you need to be when that vision comes to pass at the end. And we as people, we want to get to the end without going through the process. And we have to go through and grow through the process, because if we be honest with ourselves, we don't be ready to receive all that we're supposed to receive or gonna receive. We're not ready in the beginning. We have to be tested and tried. We got to go through some stuff. We got to lose some stuff. We got to let go of some stuff. We got to get rid of some people. We got to become mature. We got to be proven to be trustworthy to handle that big thing. So a lot of the things that we go through in life is just getting us prepared and getting us ready for what's to come. And we got to go through the process. You got to go through the process. You got to grow through it. You got to trust it. And you're going to get there as long as you don't quit.
That's good. Has there ever been a time
that was good? It was. I felt
that was real
good. I felt that for myself.
Listen, I said, oh, okay. Yeah. Did y'all hear all that? If you missed it, I need you to go back and catch it again and catch that on the replay, because that was good. Okay. Listen, has there ever been a time where you tried to rush your process before you knew that you had to, like, hey, this is my journey. Okay. Like, have you ever tried to rush your process?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is why when you asked that question, this is why I shared that, because I've been there before. So I'm telling you, it ain't gonna work. You are different from me, but it's no different. Like, we all have to be tested and tried, so I've tried to rush the process many times. I've done things prematurely. I'll never forget the time where I opened the 3rd and 4th location 2 months apart and signed a lease for what was supposed to be another location 30 days after. Now, nobody knows about this other location because it never happened. And it was a part of me rushing the process. I knew I was going to one day have multiple locations. I knew I was going to be in different cities and different areas. So I signed that lease and I'm like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but we did this, and this before. So it's going to work out. It was premature. It wasn't supposed to happen. Thank God I was able to get out of that lease without any legal documents, but that was a time where I tried to rush that process because I could see it and I know what was told to me, but it still was premature and it wasn't the right time.
That's good. But I say that's good because you were able to sign the lease. So if he did it before, he gave you the vision, he told you it's going to happen, and you were presented the opportunity to sign the lease then. And at that time you were doing the other two did the other 2 locations. It's going to present itself again, because another thing, like you said, what you do when you first bought the open sign.
Yeah.
You stepped out on faith and bought that open sign. So for this other lease, for this other location, you stepped out again because you know what God told you. You know what he promised you. He ain't gonna lie. He ain't give you the vision just because the sky blue. I mean, it's gray right now, but you know what I mean. He ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't give that vision to you just to give it to you. So he presented you with the opportunity. And that was one of those things where, okay, now is not the time, but I know that this opportunity presented itself now. And if it can present itself now, I know it can present itself again. And when it presents itself again, and it is the right time, it's going to be a better opportunity than it was the first time, because I already showed God by stepping out on faith and signing that lease. But that's how much God loves you and had your back, because you stepped out on faith, that you were able to walk away from it without legal fees.
Exactly.
So next time it's spin a block, it's going to be even better than the first time, because he already know, I can trust my daughter with this. And I know she's going to do right by this. And I know she's going to be obedient and do what I tell her to do.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, listen, I ain't about to play with you today, okay? Listen here. Okay, let me see. What is something from, I'm going to jump back to your devotional. What is one thing from your devotional that you practice on a daily in your business and personal life, both?
Okay. So, one thing that I practice every day, I think it may be day number one in my devotional. And I may be saying this wrong, but it says like start your day with God. So and it might not necessarily, that's not the exact title, but that's what the gist of it is. So every day I start my day with God. And I've been trying to be more intentional now. Because like, when you wake up in the morning, my alarm clock goes off, and my alarm clock is on my phone. So a lot of times it's easy to grab your phone first, and then you be to open your phone, you looking at your notifications, you scrolling through them. Before you know it, you on Facebook. Before you know it, you on Instagram. Before you know it, you responding to messages. Then you texting folks back. And you ain't even told God thank you. So one thing that I have been very intentional about is before I get out the bed, when my eyes open up, thank you, Lord, for another day. So in these days, I'm being very intentional about putting God first and thanking him for the day, and just starting with him and ending with him, because without God, I ain't doing nothing.
That's it. I know that's right. Cause I sure was guilty of that. Alarm clock go off. Okay, is this on my phone as well? Let me go ahead. All right, stop the alarm. Well, since I'm here, let me see what message did I miss. Okay, next thing you know, I'm on Facebook. Next thing you know, I'm on TikTok scrolling. 15, 20, 30 minutes done went by. Now I'm late to be doing what I need to do, and I still didn't spend time with God. So I had to get myself on that and reel myself back in, because I was guilty, very, very guilty. Okay. So like she said, y'all, first thing of the day, spend your time with God. Thank God. Good morning, God. Good morning, Jesus. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for waking me up this morning. It's so easy and so simple. And it's also, I'll be honest, has been, for me, speaking for myself, easy to not do it because of distractions.
Yeah.
He ain't distracted when he wakes up in the morning. So why we distracted when it's time for us to get up and go on about our day?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Listen here. This interview has been good. Okay. Let me see here. What would you say? What would you say to that person that is watching you right now that wants to move forward, wants to keep going, but has a roadblock that is stopping them, that has something in the way that is stopping them from pushing forward to operate in their gift and in their purpose?
I would say to that person, and this is something that I've put into practice in my own life, I would say to that person to sit down and think about a time where you experienced something hard, something challenging, a roadblock that you've experienced before, and think about how you got through it. And I would say to use that as your motivation to help you get through this one, because roadblocks and things that come in our way, they come to us. They could either be a distraction, or it could be meant for to help us. So if you have something in your way, it's a reason why it's there. So you need to navigate through it, and don't just want to quit and give up, but figure out what you have to do to get through it. Think about, like I said, a time where you've experienced something hard before and you got through it, because just like you got through that one, you will definitely get through this one. And one thing about things that are purpose for you, it's already purpose for you, but you're going to have to go through some stuff to get there. So this is just a part of your journey. You just have to keep going.
That's so good. Listen, I was about to ask you, is there anything you wanted to say before we go? But I don't know. Was that it, or you got something else to say?
I think that was a good note to end on. That was it.
I think that was the benediction, and we about to pass the collection plate, okay? This has been an amazing interview. See, Cierra Crudup, Mrs. Cierra Crudup of Delicious Sweets Bake Shop and Craven Cookies and Coffee, located at SVRC Marketplace inside downtown Saginaw, Riverfront Saginaw. Thought I slide that on in there. Listen, I'll give y'all the address. I think it's 207 South Washington.
203.
203. I was close. 203 South Washington. Y'all get down there, get y'all sweets, y'all treats, and make sure you go and you also purchase her devotional. I got my copy. Y'all get y'all copy, okay? Purchase your devotional as well. Faith in Action. Right?
In action, yes. That's exactly it.
That's it, y'all. See, I thank you so much for joining us on this evening. Thank you for taking the time out for sharing your pain into power story and dropping all these nuggets. I think we just got a little sermon or something, y'all. So I hope y'all took notes. And if y'all missed it and you just now joining, I hope you all have subscribed to this here YouTube channel, okay? And continue to join us here every single Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wake 'em Up Wednesdays for Pain into Power. This has been another Pain into Power story, a part of the Pain into Power series. Again, sister, I thank you so much for joining me. Until next week, y'all, we will have another special guest here with us in the power seat. Until then, I love y'all. Make sure y'all subscribe. I said that. And if you just joining, go to the replay. I just want to throw that in there, add that in there. And go get y'all some delicious sweets, okay? So next time, y'all, I love y'all. See y'all later. Bye.
Bye.